going on with that jacket?
Hey, Bob. It's
that?
a good jacket. It's a great jacket. It's my Ric Flair jacket.
Is it custom made?
No, it says Nature Boy on the back.
Oh, is it? They sell that.
Oh,
You
not to anybody.
Jacket? What? That's ridiculous. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. How long have you owned that jacket?
Honestly, a couple of years. This is the first time I brought it out for content.
Really?
Yeah, I've had this for a couple of years now. Yeah.
First time you've broken it out for content, you've broken it out for non-content reasons?
Yeah, entertaining guests at the house. You throw on the
just
Ric
get
Flair
into
jacket.
it. We're recording already. This is the show.
Yeah.
This is all in.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to From the Top Rope, the first edition of From the Top Rope in 2025. Can you believe it? You never would have thought all those years ago when we got canceled that we would be putting out episodes in 2025.
It's our ninth year.
We are. Is it our 9th year? We outlasted the Beatles.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we started in 17. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Started in 17. It's about to be 10 years soon that we're pals. That's crazy.
A decade of destruction, as they say in the biz.
That's what our t-shirts will say on the back. We'll have all our tour dates. You could probably fit them all on there. I mean, we've done 9 years worth of podcasts, but it's only like 100 episodes, if that. Probably not even.
You know what? It's been a while. Actually, I was going through my old videos the other day, and I found the video where we were at, I believe it was MSG, and we were doing the Enzo and Cass entrance, like we were mouthing it as they were doing it in the ring. That was 2017. We haven't done like in-person content in a while, but you are coming here for the Rumble, right?
Correct.
So you're coming here for the Rumble. My friend wrestling group chat is the Dork Party. They're all going to be. They were here for.
I will fit in very well, I think.
Big time. Yes. One of them brought a fucking sword the other night. I mean, nice. we're recruiting new wrestling fans. I
noticed that Coley was tweeting about Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Like that was a spectacle, but like the people that came over, like Steve, who does Section 10 with me, never watched a wrestling event in his life. He came to, what was the last PLE?
The very last one was Survivor Series.
Was it?
Right?
Okay, so he came for he came for War Games. Yeah. So that was his first PLE. Loved it.
I saw him acknowledge, and I saw a picture of him acknowledging the tribal chief.
Yep, came back for Raw, and now he's like genuinely excited for the Royal Rumble.
I think it's great. I think this year is truly going to be a great year for wrestling. I think it's going to be a great year for WWE specifically. Obviously, we're doing this podcast because they just debuted on Netflix on Monday. Pretty fucking huge debut. We knew it would be a huge debut going into it, but like everyone was tweeting about it. They obviously have Travis Scott and The Undertaker and The Rock and John Cena and Hulk Hogan, and we'll get into all of that.
Sure.
But overall, I think it was a big success. Netflix tech held up. Obviously, we were worried about the Tyson Paul stuff. That was not a concern. It was flawless on my end.
I wasn't worried about it at all because I mean, like, all due respect to WWE, and like I love it. It's my favorite thing in the world, but it wasn't going to draw the hundreds of millions of viewers that like Mike Tyson and Jake Paul was going to do. If like the Tom Brady roast didn't crash, then this was not going to crash. And it was perfect streaming. I'm excited because like, I think we've been kind of saying this for a while now, like wrestling's cool again. And I think that like, that was kind of what The Rock was talking about when he came back last year. He's like, professional wrestling is cool again. And now with Netflix, we are getting to the point where even if you don't want to admit it, people are intrigued. Like there's definitely people that are like, maybe I'm not going to live tweet this event, but I checked it out. I heard that Roman was open, and I heard The Rock was going to be there. Maybe The Undertaker shows up. Like I remember those guys, and they flip it on. And it's like, I kind of like this. And then they come back, and then they come back again, and then they watch.
I also think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think wrestling became cool again a little bit before it became good again, where I think it was like starting to creep back in. Obviously, Final Boss, Rock stuff, everything leading up to Cody finishing the story, the ending of the bloodline, last year's Royal Rumble with Sammy and Kevin. That was all amazing. But it felt like as Vince was starting to lose control of the company and leave, it was just starting to get better and better, but it was already becoming like, oh, more people are talking about wrestling. And then at the perfect time, it was like, oh, and now it's in Triple H's hands and he knows how to book this show.
I think that's exactly when it became, it was a combination of it's cool again and it's safe enough to say publicly that I like this.
Yes.
There was a big time combination of those two things, because when Vince left and then he came back, then it's like, ah, shit, like
I know everyone is like, oh, Jesus Christ, we thought we were back. And that
we were
was like,
almost free.
AEW helped as well. I think AEW really did help make wrestling cool again. Like Punk coming back in AEW and Bryan Danielson jumping ship and Adam Cole jumping ship. All of that happening around the same time really helped the business as a whole. But it was still a weird time where you didn't know if you wanted to like fully dive into supporting the WWE, because they still were putting out a lot of shit at that point. The pay-per-views were disappointing. They had Vince endings that were always just like, all right, well, the performers are great and we want to support them, but we don't want to support the storyline that they're, being put through and stuff like that. Now it's at the point where I got to tell you, WWE is obviously thriving the most, but AEW is in a really good spot. I know that WWE Bobos, if you want to call them that, will post like the attendance numbers and fucking the pictures that make it look bad. But AEW product wise is in a really good spot. New Japan product wise is in a better spot than it's been in years. WWE is definitely in a better spot than it's been in years, not only product wise, but business wise. We'll get into that Rock promo, but he's talking biggest gate of all time for WWE Arena was this Monday. Shit like that is crazy. Leading into 2-night WrestleMania, we have 2-night SummerSlam this year. I think 2025, it might just be the year that wrestling's cool again.
I think we've been there for a little bit, and to your point, I think it was when Triple H took over for good. There was even me like there was still a little bit of like when Vince was still running the show. I'm like, yeah, there's a lot that I like here in terms of like the characters and the storylines and stuff, but it just still felt weird. Like I remember, I don't know why this storyline jumped out to me, but the Bobby Lashley, Rusev, Lana Cuck storyline. I'm like, this is like they're trying to. It's like it was almost like a '90s wrestling angle playing out. And,
so Vince,
yeah. I was like, what? Like, we don't need this. Like, we can do better than this. Like, there's ways to be funny and entertaining and captivating without this bullshit. But we haven't really seen that in the Triple H era. I think we're just there. I think it's like we have finally modernized professional wrestling. I think Triple H talked about this in the press conference, where he was saying, we're not insulting our fans anymore, because that promo that they opened up Raw with, he's like, we use the words heel and face and work and shoot, and we are what we are. Like, we're not trying to like kayfabe.
How did you feel about that? Them using those terms in the cold open for Raw? Because I'll be honest, I didn't love it. Like, I wasn't like, you can't do that, you can never say that on television. It just, when they did it, like I was watching that promo captivated. When they said it, took me out of it a little bit. I was like, oh, they're saying that. Like, I just didn't seem like necessary. I didn't love it, but I wasn't like, you can never do that.
I think I was the perfect focus group for it, because I had all my diehard wrestling friends over, but I also had Steve there, it was his second wrestling show ever. And as he's, sitting next to me and I'm explaining wrestling terms to him, like there was, I think in the Roman Solo match, like Roman really hit Solo like pretty hard. And I noticed like Solo hit him pretty hard early. I was like, yeah, you're going to want to write this down. That's called a receipt. It's like if you hit someone a little bit too hard, like they're gonna get you back. They're gonna hit you just as hard, if not harder. I was explaining like the Punk and Rollins match about how he put his foot on the rope and he was like, why did it stop the count? I was like, you can put your foot on the rope if you're in a submission hold. You can grab the rope and it stops the hold. So like I'm explaining, like this is exactly the purpose of Netflix right now. And my girlfriend's youngest daughter, I'm really trying to get her into wrestling because she's a cheerleader. And I'm like, oh, like, there's like Alexa Bliss, like a lot of these, like, women wrestlers, they come from cheerleading backgrounds and they're athletes first. And then they come here. And then when you turn on Netflix, like they don't, like we have cable, the kids don't use cable, like they are on Netflix, and it's like, oh, all these like profiles, like now you can go and like learn about like all these other people. Like I'm trying to do that,
I
but
think that's going to be a game changer too.
big
Like,
time.
even just seeing like Interstellar just went back on Netflix. Everyone in the Barstool office is talking about Interstellar this week just because it's on Netflix. Everyone saw it on their homepage and clicked it and they got curious. I mean, when the Vince thing obviously wasn't like WWE made, when that documentary went on Netflix, everyone was talking about wrestling and the Attitude Era and Vince again. I think just these events, these documentaries existing on Netflix is going to bring in an audience that maybe even WWE didn't anticipate, because like the documentaries they make are among the best content WWE produces.
Yeah. And you know, I think when I look back on my own case, I was diehard WWF fan from 97 to 2003, stopped watching for a very long time, and because my favorite wrestler piqued my interest, that's when I came back and I never stopped watching again. So what if your favorite wrestler isn't someone that came back or had a moment that you know, piqued your interest or whatever? This is kind of putting WWE in front of your face. Like you can't not see it. You can't, like, there's plenty of people. How many times have you gone on Netflix and been like, I don't know what I'm going to watch tonight, but I'm just going to browse and try and find something. Now, people that gave up on wrestling in 2006 or whatever, it's like, oh, it wasn't cool when I was in high school, so I stopped watching in 2012. Now you like, it's in front of your face. Like, oh, people are talking about this again.
And we scroll and be like, is that the fucking Hardy Boys in that thumbnail? What is this?
Yeah,
like random shit like that.
accessible. And you know, I think if you gave up on wrestling a long time ago, then you're not gonna just randomly be watching SVU and then it runs into fucking Monday Night Raw, but you are gonna be on Netflix and it's gonna be in front of your face that way.
Also, not to shit on the cock here, but like Peacock isn't necessarily the best streaming service for WWE to be on. It's been fine for like the live events are fine. It is what it is. It still pisses me the fuck off that it's like WrestleMania season 20, episode 1 is WrestleMania 2. Just that, the fact that they never even considered fixing that for wrestling fans over the years really pisses me off. But I'm happy they're on Netflix now. And the first show in general, I love the look of. I know that might not be every Monday Night Raw because the Intuit Arena or Dome, whatever it's called, is like a technological achievement of an arena, and they have lights in every seat. It looked really cool, but I hope they keep that entrance set up where they're selling the seats above it. The shots of Punk walking out, the shot of The Rock walking out in the opening when the crowd is above them, that looked so sick. I texted you this. You know, you're in too deep as a wrestling fan when you turn to your fiance who really does not care at all about wrestling and is being tortured by Monday Night Raw. And you're like, they got new mics for Netflix. See the flag on the middle of it. It's not a square anymore. It's been a square forever. Now it's a circle. So that's pretty cool. And she's like, nice. Looks sick, nice. You know, right, dude. Back to her fucking New York Times game or whatever she's playing. But yeah, the whole look of Raw on Netflix, I liked. I don't love the Fortnite ring. I guess I'll get used to it. I still don't love the
You're gonna love it when Cody fucking kisses it, aren't you? Cody's gonna kiss
the Fortnite. The Fortnite, to me, I don't know why, but I liked it less than the Prime. The Prime, when I saw it, I was like, all right, that's not too bad. Something about this apron, I was just like, oh, it's the Fortnite ring now. Kind of looks like. I also don't. This is so nitpicky wrestling fan stuff that like it doesn't matter at all. I don't love the new ref outfits. I think they should just wear stripes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for change.
They're
I
fine.
guess.
You know, I'll get used to it next week. It's one of those like I'll instantly whatever. Like I liked when the SmackDown refs used to wear the blue stripe kind of thing. But like, yeah, I saw that and there was something about the side. It looked like a soccer jersey to me or something. Looks strange.
I just, if it's going to be a new era, then make it all new. Like,
yeah,
I'm fine with it. You know, the stage was new. The ramp was new. The ring was new. The refs uniforms were new. Yeah, like everything about it was new.
And it wasn't just LED overload. Sometimes it's just LEDs everywhere. It almost seems like they scaled down the LED, you know, crazy fucking conundrum, whatever you want to call it.
That's because all the ads are on the canvas now.
True. Also, that was the other thing. We were kind of promised less commercials with Netflix. It did not feel like that to me. It felt like a normal Monday Night Raw commercial-wise.
Parts of it, yes. Like the moments that they went to commercial felt Raw-ish to me. I think the frequency was I think the frequency was PLE-ish, but the timing of the commercials, like going to a commercial during a match, and when Raw was
That
on
annoyed me. In the
USA,
first match, I was like, come on, give us an hour, no commercials, just to kick it off.
right? But also the fact that when it was on USA, they would go to commercial and they would keep a box to still show you the
I
action in the ring.
know.
They go full commercial on Netflix now.
Give us the box. I like the box. I
Yeah.
never mind that. When you could watch the little thing, it's whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
Let's get into it, because we started with the Triple H promo. I thought that was cool, the way they did the curtains over the fucking ring. I thought he was gonna have like a Kiss entrance. I thought it was gonna fucking boom, and he's like lowering from the ceiling, fucking spitting water or some shit. But his promo was good. I thought exactly what it should have been. I wish they would have went straight from his promo to the combat, the tribal combat. I wish they went straight into the match. I feel like the crowd would have been so hot. Instead, they went into The Rock, which you would think on paper, good move. The crowd's going to pop like crazy for The Rock. Jared, I think he took the fucking air out of the room. This was one of the worst Rock promos I've ever seen. It was not Final Boss Rock. It was not heel Rock. It was Dwayne Johnson, the TKO board guy, coming out to say his catchphrases, almost as if Netflix needed like a clean cut of every one of his catchphrases. So he was like, all right, ready? Action. If you smell, it was weird. He's thanking the board members. They cut to the board members, like holding up their replica title in the press box. And then he hugged Cody and thanked Cody and shouted out Roman Reigns, left. This took all the tension out of the Cody and Roman thing for me. It took the tension away from the final boss, removed some of that aura to me. I don't know what they were thinking here, but I hated it. Did you hate it as much as I did?
I hated it as much as you did. The tie-in for me is that promo, the out of character, all that is fine if Roman and Solo go on last, because now if Roman and Solo go on last, in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking that promo is weird, but I'm like, they're trying to swerve us. They're telling us
hoping.
like,
yeah,
Rock's a good guy and he's gonna go screw over Roman and further the storyline.
I was hoping that was the case. I was like, maybe they're thinking, like he said on NXT, trying to rationalize everything. I was like, maybe he is thinking 20 steps ahead of us, and maybe I'm the sucker here. I don't think I was the sucker. I think did they think that we would all love this? It was just weird. Someone was like, what do you not understand about this? On Twitter, they said to me, what do you not understand about this? He wasn't in character. And I was like,
he came out to the final boss theme and he was dressed like the final boss.
Yes. And never acknowledged like, hey guys, I'm going to not be in character now. I said, that's not a thing that happens in wrestling or on any other TV show where someone comes out and they're just the actor that plays the character. No acknowledgement of what's going on. And he kept saying, me and Nate were talking about this. He kept saying, all right, before we get the show on the road, it's like, the show is on the road. You're live.
Yeah,
what are you talking about, bro? We are live. The show started 20 minutes ago. Triple H already did his promo. If you're going to do that promo, almost let The Rock do the opening promo that Triple H did. Because then it feels like, all right, now let's get the show started. It was such a strange decision that I'm surprised made it through all. And then he went and drank tequila with Cody afterwards. What was that all about? Them showing that too on live. If you're going to do it on Instagram Live, it is what it is. That's kind of a removed thing where I could accept that we're going to push kayfabe to the side. To show it on the live show and have Cole be like, look at them drinking tequila. Isn't that great? A respect formed. Like, when did it form? Off camera?
It's like the last time these two gentlemen met, The Rock handed a bloody weight belt covered in Cody's blood to Cody's mother, and now they're drinking tequila together.
He joked about that too. He's like, Cody, tell your mama I said hi, and Cody's like, I will.
Yeah, I don't know. I hated that, and I'm not one of those guys where it's like, oh, you got to protect kayfabe. But if you're gonna do that, then at least
in the context of the show. Yeah. In the context of the show, protect kayfabe. Outside of wrestling, do whatever you got to do. It's 2025. I know it's a different world than it used to be. But like Monday Night Raw is on the air right now. Let's act like your character when Monday Night Raw is on. And even putting Cody in the front row for the first Raw on Netflix. I know they gave him his run-in spot during this match, but that was weird too. It made him look like
just the guy.
Oh, our champ is just the guy in the front row. It was weird.
Yeah. I think if The Rock came out in just a black blazer with like dress pants. It's like you're telling us that this is not the final boss. Like,
Yeah.
we know that he's The Rock, we know he's Dwayne Johnson, but if he came out and was just dressed differently, it's almost like when Kane was Corporate Kane and then he put on the mask and it's like, oh, he's the Demon Kane.
Shit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's, you know, we get it. It's wrestling. We follow. But he came out to the final boss music. He was wearing the final boss like vest and the necklace. He was wearing the exact same thing he was wearing when he beat the shit out of Cody and bloodied him in the rain by the tour bus.
Telling the referees, like, get the fuck away from me. I don't care if the show's fucking off there. Like,
fuck up.
The same guy.
Yeah,
that was fucked. I hated that. I hated this promo on NXT the next night. That, which to me, again, it just seemed like he was trying to like rationalize it or try to be like, oh, I knew what I was doing all along. But it was just damage control based on obviously everyone being like, hey, what the fuck was that last night? You just came out. I was hoping he would insult the audience at one point. I was like, hopefully he's like, hey, this is the biggest. Yeah, I was hoping he would say this is the biggest Raw gate ever because you lazy sons of bitches fucking spent all the money you should have spent on your kids on tickets or something like that. Instead, no.
The final boss Rock is easily my favorite Rock of all time.
This showed how much better he is as a heel too. Like, sure, the catchphrases are fun for the live audience, but watching at home, it's way more fun when we don't know what the hell the Rock's going to say next. Not just like, oh, he's going to say, finally, he's come home. Like, whatever. Match.
Wait, do you think that the final boss Rock has done, or do you think we're going to see him again?
No. I think he'll be back.
Yeah.
I just think this was this weird, like, non-canon segment where he thought we would all just understand. Like, I think especially based on the reaction to that segment, the final boss Rock has to be back. It's also got to be way more fun for him. Right.
Well, he also did the 1, 2, 3. Like,
what was that?
No explanation there. No explanation of what he put in Cody's hand the last time he was on Raw.
See, this is a worry that we got to put in the back of our minds. Triple H might know what he's doing, but The Rock is that guy that can kind of come in and say, hey, we're rewriting the story. I'm doing this now. That's not always going to make sense. Like, I don't know if The Rock fully knows what he's doing, because I think The Rock fucked everything up with WrestleMania last year and it wound up working out for the best. But I think it was one of those happy accidents where it was like The Rock wanted to fucking step in and have Cody shake his hand and say, you could have my match, sir, and do all that stuff. And I'm not positive The Rock has got his finger on the pulse of wrestling fans anymore.
It doesn't, like, to me, it's coming off as he's not working Mania.
I don't know if he is. There's rumors that he's going to have like live action Moana reshoots around the same time. And that's such a big Disney production that the insurance on him is going to be like, he's not going to be able to do WrestleMania. I don't know. That promo certainly seems like no Rocket Mania this year to me.
Because now would be the time.
No match. Maybe he could come out at the end of Mania and set something up next year, but I don't think he's working WrestleMania.
It doesn't feel like it. Jesus,
Jared, your phone's ringing.
That's
is it The Rock?
Dwayne Johnson. Yep. Yeah, no, it doesn't feel like they're
which is
working
weird
right now. Because now's the time.
Because there was the report. Dave Meltzer put out a report months ago that said The Rock's not working Mania this year, and The Rock was like, "Don't believe everything you read." Winky face. I don't know.
Doesn't mean he's gonna have a match.
No, it doesn't. And he could be working everybody still to this day. He probably should be working everybody to have the will he won't he still. The match that followed the Rock promo, the tribal combat match, was awesome, I thought. Solo versus Reigns, and it's a interesting dynamic having this match kick it off, but I think it was the right move because the Seth Rollins CM Punk promo that led into their match was so good that felt like the main event. This was booked like a main event in that we had the like almost overbooking towards the end. It was like a mini version of the WrestleMania 40 main event with like run in. We got Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes and the Bloodline and Sami Zayn and, you know, Jey Uso and everyone came in to help Roman. He wound up winning. He gets the Ulafala. Is that what it's called? Did I say it right? Ulafala.
Yep.
He gets that put on him. He is now the OTC, the original tribal chief, the one tribal chief. Heyman was doing his little dance. I sent you the video. It was so funny, the little sway and dance. The Rock comes back out to do this like acknowledgement thing. That sucked too. It was the only thing about this match I didn't like was The Rock wasting time afterwards. I was hoping he was going to like you know, they do the big handshake. I thought he was going to pull him in, rock bottom. And oh my God, Raw on Netflix is already the most talked about wrestling show in years. But no, it's just, he just wanted to be there for something.
Well, I mean, he did, like, in actual Samoan culture, like he's a high chief. So it's almost like,
Yes.
but like the
But
last
is this
time,
an
think
official
about it this way.
Samoa? Is this how the Samoans settle their beef? Tribal combat?
Think about it this way. The last time, or the first time that the Ulafala was introduced, was when Roman beat Jay, and then he went to the top of the stage, and the elders, which would be Afa and Sika, they put the Ulafala on Roman. They have since both passed, so
True.
The Rock would be
Nobody did it
the
at
elder.
SummerSlam, right? He faced Jay again, and it was him versus Jay in Detroit, SummerSlam.
Well, he just had it.
All
Like,
right,
there was no
fair enough.
changing of the Ulafala.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and then Solo basically just stole it after he
stole it,
lost
yeah,
at
it was-
WrestleMania. Yeah, so
So
like an
does this-
official presentation, changing of the guard Ulafala comes from the
But
elders.
but what does this do for the Roman bloodline feud? Because I didn't feel like an end to me. I don't think this is the end of it, even though it kind of is a payoff, a blow off.
The end of it to me. So I don't know. Like, I always kind of pay attention to social media in addition to what's on like the TV show, and on Roman's social media page, he celebrated with the Ulafala and had it on, and he said, like, now everyone has to acknowledge me as the tribal chief, and he gave like a sinister smirk. So it's almost like with the Ulafala is heel Roman back, and then you have to figure, all right, so maybe the Roman bloodline, like those, like that was almost like an Avengers. It's like, together we're great, but as individuals we're also pretty awesome too. And Jay has obviously worked his ass off to become a single star. Jimmy, I think, needs either Jay or Roman, and Sammy can kind of, like, obviously does his best work with the bloodline, but can exist on his own and whatever. The story kind of pivots to there's two directions or two ways that they could go with it. Maybe they can go with both at the same time. Now that Solo is not the tribal chief, does his bloodline disintegrate the same way that it happened with Roman's bloodline? Because Jacob Fatu, I mean, he's a psychopath. So if he only acknowledges Solo because he's the tribal chief, well, does he acknowledge Roman now? Like, is there dissension in the ranks there? Also, I sniffed out, and it still hasn't happened yet, but it's definitely where they're going, I think, especially after Seth losing. The Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre, potentially Seth Rollins faction of guys that need to take down certain individuals.
You did sniff that out early on this podcast. I think that would be sick. You've like fully convinced me that that almost should be the direction going forward. It makes a lot of sense. Even on Raw, like if you're looking at the Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes thing, what did Cody Rhodes do on Raw? He drank tequila with The Rock and he helped Roman Reigns win a match. Like, I love Cody. You know, I love Cody. I'm the Cody Bobo.
You love Cody too much.
Come on now. Like, Kevin Owens is making some fucking points here.
No one loves Cody Rhodes more than you, but I think with that storyline in particular, well, to kind of pivot back to the Rock's whole thing now, Roman needs a partner. We got WrestleMania matches on the Raw debut on Netflix. Seth and Punk, that was supposed to be a WrestleMania match. Solo and Roman, that was supposed to be like this year's WrestleMania.
Could have been.
So now Roman needs a partner. Like, the only way that you can do this now is Roman and Punk.
Roman and Punk would be good. He still owes him that favor from Survivor Series, and you know Paul Heyman owes Punk that favor. Maybe he could.
The favor is the main event. It's like, well, how do you guarantee the main event? Like, I can't guarantee that you win the Royal Rumble. I can't guarantee that you win Money in the Bank or Elimination Chamber. But I can.
Jacob turning on Solo is that they're gonna have a match at WrestleMania this year. It's gonna be Jacob versus Solo. He's gonna hit the I hate you Solo. And everyone's gonna pop like crazy. Jacob's gonna be a crazy over face. But it's weird because Cena declares himself for the Rumble on this show. Great promo. Loved Cena's promo. I loved that he acknowledged that he's on a losing streak. We're not just going to act like his part-time thing was, oh, yeah, he came in and lost a bunch of matches. He's like making that part of the story. If he wins the Rumble and it's Cena versus Cody, which I think is probably the direction, that's the rumored direction. Is it Punk versus Roman? Then what do you do with Seth? My brother even said to me today, he said, it's kind of weird that like there was no even tease of Roman and Seth being the direction for WrestleMania this year when like the chair shot to the Seth might have been what lost them the title. And I kind of agree, like Seth versus Roman, I would be down for that at WrestleMania this year.
Yeah,
their match at the Rumble a few years ago was amazing.
Their one match in the tribal chief head of the table era was a no contest.
And it was great too. Like a truly awesome match. He came out in the Shield gear, the mind games, everything about it. They have that built-in storyline. They're just in this weird realm with Two Night Mania where it's like, all right, Cody versus Cena. That's one of the biggest matches you could make. Punk versus Roman. That's the other biggest match you could make. Now, what do you do with all of your other big stars? Gunther versus Seth? That'd be cool too. I would be down for that. Yeah. But is a title on it? Or do you take the title off of Gunther at some point so that Punk and Roman has a title attached to it?
I don't think Punk and Roman need it. I mean,
I don't think it needs it either. But
what was it like?
Would they want it to have it though?
No, I mean, if they're looking at the numbers,
if that's like your main event night one would be Punk versus Roman, no title. Your main event night two would be Cena versus Cody for the title.
Yeah.
Then the world heavyweight title is it's a co-main event, or
Well, it can be the first match on the card. It's the first match. It's been the first match on the card a bunch of times.
I know. It's just like pushing it down like that. I feel like WrestleMania, 2-night WrestleMania, when you have two world titles, it should almost be a world title is up for grabs in each main event.
Well, what about the years when the tag titles main evented?
That it made so much sense though. Like the tag titles main eventing last year also kind of made sense with, all right, night one is going to have an effect on night two. It's just
KO and Austin.
I don't think there should be two world titles. I just don't. I think the champ should work both brands and it would keep things fresh. But it's just like if you're gonna have two titles, it just feels like they're constantly diminishing the one title and reminding us that it's not as important while introducing like 100 mid-card titles. It's like, well, what's the point of all these titles?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a bit of an old man yelling at clouds rant.
It's not though, because the only thing that's wrong with that title is that they just don't acknowledge that it's a continuation of the WCW World Heavyweight title. Like if it was just like, hey, this is the big gold belt.
So it's the one you remember from when you were kids. Yes.
We can go back and say, this is the Ric Flair belt. This is, the Dusty belt. It looks different. It's the same thing as, the Winged Eagle is the same thing that Cody carries around. Same belt, just looks different.
The lineage is the same.
Yeah, that's what they should have done. Is like told us that this is.
They should have said we're bringing it back, not we're introducing a new title.
Correct. That's what they should have done. Yeah, the lineage is what makes it or helps it make it feel more important.
Aside from that, you on the same page about that Cena promo rocking?
Yeah, no,
I was like, he better go back to Dwayne and say that's how you cut a fucking promo, Dwayne. Being like, I don't think I'm gonna win a world title. The crowd being like, what do you mean you're not gonna win a world title? He's like, unless they were in the palm of his hands, Jared. They're like, unless what? Like everyone forgot for a moment that the Royal Rumble was in 4 weeks.
Yeah, I've never been a Cena guy. I've always been a respect Cena guy. I've never popped for loyalty, Cena.
Respect.
I've never bought Cena merch.
Oh, I had it all.
Never bought Cena merch. Never he's in one of, if not my favorite match of all time, the CM Punk Money in the Bank 11 match. So he's
top 5 all time for me, no doubt. Top 5 all time.
Yeah, he's Mount Rushmore, but he doesn't make the cut.
He might make my cut. My number 1 would be Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to call him. Number 2, Rey Mysterio.
Bryan on the this is like I'm talking like
my favorites.
Yeah, I'm talking the WWE Mount Rushmore.
No, he wouldn't. No, he would be on the. Yeah, he would be on the.
You think so?
He kept the company afloat longer than anybody, dude. Like Hogan's run at the top was like a couple years. Austin's run at the top a couple years. The Rock's run at the top same time as Austin's run at the top. Cena kept the company afloat at the top for like 15 years.
But that 15-year run was probably like my least favorite run of
Might have been
professional
your
wrestling
least
ever.
favorite, but WWE might not exist without John Cena right now.
I guess. But it's
He belongs on the Rushmore.
It's
It's
the knock on
Hogan,
Cena is that
Austin, Rock, Cena.
The two biggest peaks in WWE history are both without Cena. Like the Attitude Era, no Cena. And like
Sure, but if we look at
the
who sold
Bloodline
the
era.
most merch in the history of wrestling, I bet Cena is number one. Who drew the most houses in the history of wrestling? Cena is number one.
Yeah. That's why I respect him.
You know, he's got those stats. I love Cena. I can't wait for the farewell tour. I think it's going to be awesome. He would be in my personal Mount Rushmore of wrestling. It would be Bryan Danielson, Shawn Michaels, Rey Mysterio, John Cena. Those would be my four. And
Cena's like
John
Babe
Cena,
Ruth.
a little thing. Some people know this, some people don't. I've told the story before. When he was in the office to do Pardon My Take, he was in a bad mood. And I noticed he was in a bad mood. And I left without ever saying hi to him because I was like, I want to meet Cena when it's right. I don't want to meet him on this day when he's in a bad mood. We found out later it was like the day after him and Nikki Bella broke up.
Correct.
He was at Raw. Did you see the meme of Bill Simmons not looking at her? He was doing the like maintain eye contact with anyone but Nikki Bella as she gyrates right next to me.
Mm-hmm.
Funny clip.
Yeah, that was opening day 2018 that Cena was in the office.
Was it?
Yeah,
because you weren't in the office.
I was there. I got a picture.
That's why you remember it? Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I thought you remembered it because you were at opening day or something.
I remember because I was watching the game and I was like, "You still like the Red Sox?" And he's like, "I don't care about baseball."
He was like, "I don't like anything, man.
I don't like anything, brother." Yeah. He was.
That was his era where he was going out between like the hours of 6 and 9 and talking to strangers. He was like, "Yeah, I just go out and talk to strangers." It's like, well, that's really fucking sad, dude.
Yeah.
Well, but he's back now. He's back. He's funny. His wife was at Raw. He's wearing the little ring on his finger. He's fucking living life. When I meet him in the future, I'm going to be grateful for it. I'm going to be grateful I didn't meet him that one day.
Yeah.
Ton of celebrities in the crowd. Speaking of people in the crowd, maybe biggest pop of the night was Macaulay Culkin. When he did.
Yeah, that was wild. What a pop.
He looked up and people were like, ah.
That was awesome. Wild.
Yeah. How about they didn't show Kieran Culkin, his brother, in the front row? He won a Golden Globe the night before.
He had an interaction with CM Punk.
I saw that today, but like, why not cut to the guy in camera? Golden Globe winner. He won the night before.
I didn't know who that was. I've never heard the name. I didn't even
live
know.
Under a rock, bro.
Macaulay Culkin never had a brother in my eyes, brother.
Bro, he's in Home Alone. Easy on the Pepsi Fuller. And it cuts to the fucking kid that's like, that's him.
I've never made it all the way through Home Alone before.
It's in the beginning. It's the first 10 minutes.
Never made it that far.
This fucking guy. Tons of celebrities in the crowd. We got Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. Good match. Nothing crazy, nothing great, but I would say good match. Rhea Ripley regains the Women's World Championship. And then The Undertaker came out at the end in a spot where it was almost like they looked at the Raw lineup right before they went live and they're like, oh, fuck. We made The Undertaker fly in for this. We don't have a spot for him. They're like, I don't know. Let him fucking put Rhea Ripley over. And I'm sure he was like, she's goth. Sure. That fits my character. He came out on a motorcycle. He did a fucking lap and they threw the fist up. I put in my notes, The Undertaker comes out to give Rhea the rub. I didn't realize how that sounded when I wrote it. But yeah, he gave her the rub.
He sure did. And you joke, but I think that is probably close to what happened. Not that they forgot. You think
they're like, that we just don't know where to put him?
I think that it got cut because wasn't it like Penta got cut?
Was he supposed to be on Raw though, or was that just supposed to be a tease? Because they set it up, you know.
It was supposed to be Kofi and Woods versus Ray and a mystery partner, and that was supposed to be Penta. They cut like that whole match.
That's right. And they did a segment here where they're like, "Oh, I have the perfect guy for you," and it's going to be on Monday now. Yeah. I'm excited for Penta, but I'm a little trepidatious. Penta's very good. Don't get me wrong. But I'm a little worried he might come in like a Shinsuke where he's like, all right, I've worked an entire career in my life. Like WWE is where I'm going to come and coast. I'm worried that might be his mindset. My only reasoning for that worry is because that's kind of what Nakamura did after that Sami Zayn NXT TakeOver match where it was like the greatest match ever. He was like, all right, I'm all fucking good. I'm going to go surf and come in and do my 2 moves. He's been a little better recently. I like the Nakamura missed shit, but we'll see. Jury's still out on Penta.
My concerns are different. My concerns with Penta are that he can be a singles star, but the WWE is like, oh, you're a luchador. You either have to be partnered with Rey Mysterio, or you have to be the arch nemesis of Rey Mysterio. Like, why can't Penta come in and have a feud with a white man? Like,
they're gonna feud him with Andrade right away. Like, it's a weird thing that I don't know if it's a Triple H thing necessarily, because Vince did the exact same thing, but they have this like they want to put everyone in compartments when it's like, no, I think the most interesting thing would be like Penta versus Gunther or Penta versus Sami Zayn or Penta versus, you know, like it's not necessarily just like, oh, luchador, let's put him with luchadors. Like,
right.
No, we've seen that. It'll, you know,
and Penta specifically doesn't need to do that or be.
We'll need a new finisher too, right? I think his finisher's the package pile driver, and obviously that's KO's.
Yeah.
Love that they're letting KO do that. Absolutely love it. Which I made a video for Barstool. We did like a little ad. If you're gonna have a tag team partner, like who do you want? I said Kevin Owens, because nobody gets up from the pop-up power bomb. And 2 seconds after I filmed that ad, he brought the package pile driver back. I was like, bro, you could have given me a heads up. So I could have threw that in there, because people do get up from the fucking pop-up power bomb. I'll kayfabe it for you, but people do get up from that one.
They do.
We also got Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre. Another one I would describe just like Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley. I'd say very good TV match. Not like anything amazing. Didn't blow me away. You know, was blown in this match. Weed smoke out of Travis Scott's mouth, as Travis Scott, one of the biggest hip hop stars in the world. Have you heard of him, Jared?
I know who Travis Scott is. I know him more for sneakers than his music, but
yes, he walks Jey Uso out to the ring, which was such a cool visual, as it always is for Jey Uso at this point, coming out through the crowd, whole crowd yeeting, whole crowd going nuts, and Travis Scott just standing there looking cool as fuck with his custom hardcore championship, smoking a blunt on his way down to the ring. The way Michael Cole dapped him up cracked me up too. Michael Cole's like falling over the tables. Like he looked like a character from like Mickey Mouse or so. He looked like Goofy, literally on the top of the table.
Preposterous.
Crazy though. Crazy that this is the kind of mainstream crossover we're getting night one. Travis Scott smoking blunts. Good match as well. I liked the match.
The match was fine. I know people complained about the finish being a roll up, but I was like, I know tonight feels like a PLE, but it's not.
It's Raw.
If you were to sit down and watch Monday Night Raw, there are plenty of matches that end in roll-ups or just it's quick or whatever. Like you wouldn't end Drew versus Jay at the Royal Rumble like that. But on Monday Night Raw, like I know you just have to have perspective. This is still Raw. I know it doesn't feel like it, but it is.
And it's also leading into like a main event where you're getting a big conclusion. CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, obviously. You need something to different. Like the first match had a main event ending, had like a definitive conclusion. Even Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, you needed one match to at least give a little separate vibe from the rest of the night.
No heels won, Bob.
Oh, good point. No heels won. I'm happy fucking, ending. They were Triple H sending the crowd home. Happy. Yeah. I like that. Tell you who wasn't happy leaving, Hulk Hogan. Oh my God, Jared. This was so fucking awkward. I had a feeling it would be awkward when they say Hulk Hogan's coming out to do a promo and they announced the Real American beer sponsorship the same day. You're like, ooh, is he going to go out and plug beer? Because that really only works for one guy on wrestling, and it's Stone Cold Steve Austin, who people are already speculating people wanted Stone Cold at this show. So I was thinking if he comes out and starts to plug a beer and Stone Cold isn't involved at all, that might go over like a fart in church. And it went over even worse. He does the Broken Skull IPA, which weird that they like partnered with Hulk Hogan's and Stone Cold hasn't been coming back for recent events. Is that really going to help pull him back? And I don't know, but this was awkward as fuck. Him and Jimmy Hart went out there, booed out of the building. And you could kind of hear it like during Real American, as soon as it faded out, and he's just like, what's going on, brother? And it's just boo. And he's like, I love the Hulkamaniacs for sticking with me through thick and thin, brother. Boo.
The greatest teammate I ever had is the fans, brother. Boo.
Yeah. You sent me the comment that was just like, they really hated you out there, Jimmy.
Yeah, they hate you out there, brother.
Awkward, though. Awkward as fuck. There's a report today that said that he was instantly disappointed, which I would understand. Yes, as a human, you have to be disappointed in that. But that the WWE is going to bring him back to work with a heel character, not the worst idea. But like after that, it was almost like, I don't know if they want the PR of like, it was in Variety, like Hulk Hogan booed out of building at WWE debut. Like, and people are talking, Ariel Hawani has people on his show. My friend Kaz is on a show talking about like, it might be politics, but probably not, because The Undertaker was out there and everyone loved him and he had Trump on his podcast. It's probably a combination of the politics and the N-word thing. And people are just kind of fed up. It's hard to pinpoint one thing on it, but it's awkward as fuck. And it's awkward for everybody.
It goes beyond, like, because there are people that get caught saying the N-word, but they're not necessarily racist. Like
they're rapping it in a song.
Yeah, there's one example of like a cooking show where like some dude like was just reading the lyrics and just said it. I don't think that those people aren't racist. They're just, maybe a little slow, a little dumb. Yeah. But Hogan was like against his daughter dating a man of color. That is blatant,
like super against it.
Yeah. So like that's where people are like, this guy sucks. And
but
then
he's like you pointed out, he has been back a number of times throughout the years since then. He isn't always booed like this. Sometimes he is. I said to you, I remember in Tampa specifically, the COVID mania, they sent him out there with Titus O'Neil to host. And it was real awkward because it was also the arena was you got 2 seats every 6 seats. It was like partial seating. It was so weird, but you could almost hear it more that way because it was quieter. So you could only hear boos. It's weird. They're in a weird spot with Hulk Hogan.
It's like,
weird that like Hulk Hogan's in this spot. And it's also the intro video has no Vince. And I'm not saying Vince should be in the intro video. I understand why he's not, but we have so many now of the bigger figures in the history of the business that are just kind of Benoit. It's like, like, all right, we're not going to not talk about Hulk Hogan. It'll show him slamming Andre, but it's just a weird vibe.
It's uncomfortable because it is sort of, I mean, think about it this way though. It's LA, it's blue state. So, and the difference between the Undertaker and Hogan would be like, okay, Undertaker had Trump on his podcast. Hogan went to the fucking convention and was like,
let me tell you, he was wearing a shirt to California when he landed in California. He said the MAGA powers.
The MAGA powers, yeah. He like idolized.
He's really on it. Yeah.
So I think that's where that is, like in a blue state,
and maybe
he's really into it.
Maybe it's also like if he didn't have the N-word thing, it's like, all right, we could forgive political leanings. Everyone's got an uncle who you disagree with politically that you still love. Yeah. That's the Undertaker. And then it's like, all right, you pair it. And it's like, we can't forgive everything.
And it's what I said to you last night, where Mark had Trump on his podcast. There's no Terry Bollea anymore. Hulk Hogan spoke at the Republican.
You're right.
Convention. Like
people can separate the Undertaker and Mark in their mind. They're like, all right, but he's fucking the Undertaker when he's on the bike in American Badass.
That's the Undertaker. Mark Calloway had Trump on his podcast. Hulk Hogan is just Hulk Hogan. He came out and cut a Hulk Hogan promo on stage for Trump. And he's a racist. So it's very much a no-brainer, easy decision to boo Hogan and then be like, well, maybe my political views don't align with Mark Calloway's, but God damn it, do I love The Undertaker, brother.
God damn, the last rod's a good finish, brother.
Yeah.
What did you think of the main event? You got CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. First time they faced in years, probably 11 years, I think they said, something like that. I thought it was a really good match. My only slight critique, Punk kicked out of like 2 pedigrees, 2 go to sleeps. There was a lot of finishers that they didn't really need that many finishers, but I guess they're keeping Punk real strong. Again, it was like a pay-per-view main event, so I'll forgive it, but that would be my only critique of it. I thought good match overall.
Yeah, when he did the pedigree on the table into the pedigree in the ring, and then that wasn't enough for the 1, 2, 3, and then there was no someone pulling the ref out of the ring or a foot on the rope, like just straight up kicked out of 2 pedigree. And it was he had what 15 seconds in between the pedigree on he pedigreed him on the table and then put him in the ring and pedigreed him. Like it wasn't like oh man, like he kicked out of 2 pedigrees. Like
I wasn't the only person like you were picking up on that as well. That it was like,
Yes.
holy fuck, we're kicking out of a lot of moves here. And it
Yeah.
wasn't like it was like because it was on the table, it wasn't necessarily like The Rock versus Cena at WrestleMania 29, where it's like finisher, kick out, finisher, kick out. It was more spaced out. And I don't know if that made it better or worse.
Mm.
You know,
I did not love the double pedigree consecutive and then kick out. I didn't love that. No.
Did you like this match or the Roman Solo match better overall?
I definitely liked Punk Rollins better as a match. I liked Roman and Solo, like the theater of it, better.
Yeah. I think I liked that finish better. And I think I like this match better.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This was more of a classic one-on-one straight up wrestling match, like very
Two
much,
guy
you know,
workhorses.
don't want to say old school, but a little old school.
It was a wrestling match.
It was. And I will admit, I liked this. I didn't like all the kickouts, but I did like the finish of the Falcon Arrow reversal when he did the superplex off the top rope and then Punk caught him in the GTS.
Mm-hmm.
And then he like fell back into the position. I thought that was like pretty cool. I was down with that. And like, it's a cool way to end the first Raw on Netflix with just a straight up wrestling match. I felt like it was kind of a statement from Triple H of being like, this, like, yes, I know we had like 2 matches in 2 hours and there's 4 matches total on the show, but this is going to be more of a wrestling era than the Vince era was.
No doubt. Yeah. I mean, it was a Raw on steroids. It was, you had backstage segments that were great. You had in-ring promos
for 2K as well, which people think is going to be a Roman showcase mode. I know you're not a huge video game guy, but Roman on the cover with a tribal chief, like his entire title reign as a showcase mode would be really fun to play through.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But yeah, no, I thought the show was great. I saw people being like, "Oh, this didn't deliver," or "I didn't like it."
No.
It's like, bro,
big thumbs up. Other than the Rock shit, the Rock is the only thing that was a detriment to the show, and I never thought I would say that. But the Rock stuff is the only stuff I didn't like. Everything else was the Hogan promo. I didn't like love, obviously, like that was weird. Everything else aside from that was like fine. Yeah, true. But I agree with you. I would give it a big thumbs up. I'm excited for Raw on Netflix again. I feel like this is like a shot of adrenaline to Raw in general. Bringing SmackDown back to 2 hours will be a shot of adrenaline to that. 3-hour SmackDown's too much. It's too much to have 2 3-hour shows every week. But I'm excited. I'm excited for the Royal Rumble. I'm excited for the road to WrestleMania. I'm excited to do more of these with you, Jared.
Yeah, I'm excited that you're actually going to come to the Rumble here.
Yeah. And I think I'm bringing Lady Fox, who I kind of explained the Rumble to her. She's watched it with me before. She was kind of like, I was like, you want to come? She was like, is there going to be any other girls there? I was like, I think Jared's girlfriend will be there. She's like, all right, sure.
So
like,
that she lives in. Yeah, they can hang out
all
together.
Right, good.
I think there are 2 other, maybe 3 other members of the Dork Party that are bringing significant others. So there might be a decent amount of like, I don't know.
It's like we put the kids by the kids table and the adults get to business. Yeah.
Well, some of them will watch. They will sit there and at least give it a shot.
Lady Fox will watch, but she'll lose interest quickly. I think we'll see. Well, we'll see. She's not negative. She's just, she's not super into it.
My girlfriend, we call her D-Train when we talk about her in content. She will, like, for WrestleMania and for, it must have been Survivor Series last year, she'll come in and like fall asleep like on my lap like a baby.
Yeah.
And she was sleeping when Punk returned. And we went fucking nuts. And she thought we were under attack.
Yeah.
Like she was in a deep sleep. And his music hit, and grown men were shrieking, and she thought like we were in grave danger. So yeah, like there are people that come, but not necessarily are into it. But for the most part, you're gonna love the vibes. The vibes are incredible.
All right, I'm excited. Thanks for listening from the top rope. First episode, but certainly not the last of 2025. We'll see you when we see you.